What makes a successful king? Is it the triumph he brings to his country? Or the justice he serves his people? Whatever the characteristics, we can measure a king's success by considering his contributions to his country and certain other qualities. As King Charles III is preparing for his coronation, we've laid out 20 reasons why he will be a successful king. Number 20. King Charles III had time to prepare. King Charles III has spent more time preparing for the throne than any other heir in the royal family's 2,000-year history. He succeeded Queen Elizabeth II on Thursday, September 8th, following her passing, and realized a destiny that had been set for him when she became the monarch in 1952, when he was just 3 years old. Of course, King Charles had always been in the shadow of his mother's actions, and I don't mean this in a negative way. He has had the opportunity to be guided by her actions over the period of 70 years. It is true that Her Majesty was a true monarch, and he appears to be following her lead in this regard. Another factor that supports this is the fact that, unlike his late mother, who became queen at the age of 25 after her father passed away suddenly, he became king after 7 decades of his mother's reign, giving him more time to prepare for the position than any other British monarch in history. Number 19. He actively demonstrates his social responsibility. A true and just king takes part in the social affairs of his people. King Charles III's moral conscience is often praised by many. However, his critics established that it may be a mere interference that he has good morals. In 1984, he vocally opposed early plans for the addition of the contemporary steel and glass construction to the National Gallery of London. He compared this to a carbuncle on the face of a much-loved friend. The outcome? Well, the plan was ultimately abandoned, marking it one of his notable victories. Another incident, dubbed the Black Spider Memos, was one of the more controversial incidents involving King Charles. The Black Spider Memos took place because Charles tried to exert influence over government figures and private correspondence at a time when he wasn't making public statements. The British Supreme Court ordered the release of 44 letters in 2015, following a 10-year freedom of information battle. However, nothing immoral or illegal was found against Charles. King Charles made it clear in his first address to the nation that he would immediately cease taking such action, and suggested that he would rule dutifully and impartially, as his late mother did. Number 18. He is empathic and kind. A true and successful king will always listen to his people. The loss of the Queen has left the royal family in a state of immense grief. King Charles III appeared to be more relaxed and emotional with the crowd as he returned to London. This wasn't the case with either of his parents. His attitude makes him appear more empathetic and responsive, which is what people look for in a new monarch. The crowd had gathered outside Buckingham Palace, and most of them were still reeling from the shock of the Queen's death. She had been present in our lives for the past 7 decades and was a constant in King Charles's life for a long time. He handled the situation very well. This was also possible because of Camilla, his wife, who has been a reassuring influence on his life, who helped him regain much of the confidence he lost during his separation from Princess Diana and the aftermath of her death. He seems to have already matured into the position of king. Number 17. King Charles III supports environmental causes. To be one with nature, to be one with the people. Environmental concerns are at the top of everyone's agendas now. Businesses are looking at environmentally friendly alternatives to normal practices, and governments are taking measures to stop global warming. King Charles III has shown his interest in the same, and you might not know this, but his favorite cause is environmental advocacy. For years, he has advocated for addressing climate change. Monaco's Prince Albert even referred to him as ahead of the curve on the subject. In his own life, he made contributions, founded organizations, and even adopted environmentally friendly practices. For instance, he founded Duchy Originals, a business that sells food and goods made with sustainability in mind. He is also an advocate of organic farming. In fact, he has quite the green thumb as he farms himself. Along with that, he began using a bioethanol fuel made from leftover English wine on Aston Martin, so he could decrease his carbon footprints. These situations open opportunities for him to adopt progressive and environmentally friendly practices in Britain, ultimately helping him succeed as the newly crowned king. Number 16. King Charles III wants to take full responsibility just as his mother did. It is no doubt that King Charles III adores his mother, Queen Elizabeth. He has said recently that the Queen lived a good life, a promise with destiny kept, and she is mourned most deeply in her passing, in his opening speech of farewell and tribute to Her Majesty. He then adds that he would continue to live by this promise by renewing it with his ascension to the throne. In his tribute to the late Queen, Charles praised her profound dedication to serving the people of the United Kingdom and her other realms. In her life of service, we saw that abiding love of tradition, together with that fearless embrace of progress which makes us great as nations, he said. He adds to his speech by saying that the Queen never failed to treat every member of her family with kindness and warmth. Her Majesty always tried to see the best in people. Number 15. He is a progressive thinker, which is why he is thinking of downsizing the monarchy. King Charles has often said that he wants to streamline the monarchy to make it more cost-effective to maintain and more focused on the monarch and his immediate heirs. On the royal website, 22 people are listed as the highest-ranking members of the royal family. Charles, however, intends to reduce the number of senior royal family members to as few as 7. The institution would have more control over the messages that are communicated to the public on behalf of the royal family by reducing the size of the monarchy. Number 14. He is following his faith. In his first speech as the new monarch of the United Kingdom, His Majesty emphasized his role and responsibility to the Church of England and to uphold the faith and values it inspires, making clear his intention to follow his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. At this stage, an age of his life, King Charles III has matured, looking to transcend past transgressions and uphold the faith and value it inspires. He will undoubtedly show authority and humility, inspiration and inclusivity, reverence and respect, as his mother did, and we can be sure of that. Number 13. King Charles III has discernment and dignity. The first thought of the people of the United Kingdom when they saw King Charles's arrival at Buckingham Palace was that he looked amazing. Many people also claim that he looks different, and some said he already looks like a king physically. His dedication to spend time wishing people a good day outside the gates as his first official act demonstrated that he has a strong sense of how to rule in the modern era. His national address was being watched by MPs in the Common Chamber, which was evidenced by the round of applause he received afterward. The first hours of his reign have already showed that he is a man of discernment, strength, and dignity. These traits make him a worthy successor. Number 12. He is creative. He is creative, meaning he paints. You may not believe it, but King Charles is known as one of the best painters in the United Kingdom. In 1997, one of his paintings sold for $3 million. However, he didn't use this money for himself. He contributed this amount to the Prince of Wales Charitable Foundation. You would also be surprised to know that his lithographs have an estimated value of $3,600 to $21,000. Number 11. He hasn't been silent on political issues. King Charles has been more outspoken about politics than his mother, Queen Elizabeth, who is renowned for never letting her mask of objectivity slip. He made a well-known speech on Islam and the West on 1993, in which he famously said, "There's nothing to be gained and much harm to be done by refusing to comprehend the extent to which many people in the Islamic world genuinely fear our own Western materialism and mass culture as a deadly challenge to their Islamic culture and way of life." Number 10. He cares about children, which makes him likable. The Old Man of Lochnagar, a children's book written by King Charles, was based on a childhood tale set at the family's Balmoral Castle in Scotland, the location of Queen Elizabeth's passing. When they were young, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, who are his younger brothers, were the first ones to hear the tale. Just 2 years before he became a father himself, the book was published. Since then, he has read it to kids all over the United Kingdom and has also provided narration for a short film adaptation. Number 9. He has contributed to building infrastructure. Both the landscape and history books bear witness to monarchy, and even the most useless of kings have found some measure of redemption through their construction projects. Kings constructed castles during the Middle Ages, and in that regard, all were following the example set by their ancestor William the Conqueror, whose campaigns in England in the 11th century were secured by constructing and fortifying fortresses. King Charles is also going to be a successful king because he loves construction. In England, there is a town called Poundbury, which is located in Dorchester, where King Charles III built the Duchy of Cornwall. This duchy is built on the land he owns. Before, when he was the Prince of Wales, he had always been interested in urban planning and urban development. His ideas on creating structures are informed by considering both traditional and modern architecture. Through his desire and skill, he plans to make the town of Poundbury replicate his idea of a town that consists of traditional architecture with a dash of contemporary urban planning. Number 8. King Charles III is a philanthropist. The Prince's Trust was established by King Charles in 1976, in part, as is frequently believed, by the earnings of royal events and contributions from affluent people. During the Thatcher years, the organization that provided grants to young people gained momentum. It was the beginning of a vast network of philanthropy that expanded to include programs encouraging companies to give sustainability top priority. A royal source claims that this Prince of Wales has done things that no other Prince of Wales has ever done. His charity work, while enormous, has not been without criticism. Not to the size and consistency over time and with the boldness with which he has done things while attempting to stay inside the guardrails of the institution. The trustees of his charity received a $1.2 million payment from Osama bin Laden's half-brothers in 2013, as was recently disclosed. Though, it is important to note that bin Laden's half-brothers disowned the al-Qaeda terrorist leader in 1994. A politician from Qatar offered Charles millions of dollars, which he accepted and gave to his foundation, according to earlier reports. Number 7. He is not partial to the royal monarchy system. King Charles has never been partial to the royal monarchy system. During his remarks, while giving his speech on the 9th of September after the Queen's passing, Charles gave his eldest son and heir William new titles and urged him to continue to inspire and lead our national conversations, helping to bring the marginal to the center ground where vital help can be given. To this, he also added a few mentions of his son, Prince Harry, and daughter-in-law Meghan Markle. He said that he expresses his love to them both as they continue to build their lives overseas. This caught the crowd outside Buckingham Palace by surprise, since they weren't looking forward to hearing their names. This shows that King Charles loves his sons equally, without showing partiality toward the royal titles his sons hold and their different life choices. Number 6. He is well learned and the first royal to graduate from a university. King Charles III was the first British royal to attend a private school. Earlier British royals were homeschooled. Private education is considerably different from homeschooling, since it exposes students to a variety of social groups. Perhaps, as a result, King Charles III of the UK struck a chord with the average person. He attended the exclusive boarding school, Gordonstoun, in Scotland. The late Prince Philip, who was his father, attended the same institution. In 1967, he enrolled at the University of Cambridge. He first majored in anthropology and archaeology before switching to history. His senior year was 1970. He was the first monarchic heir to graduate from college. Number 5. King Charles III is economical and makes sure not to waste. King Charles is adamantly opposed to food waste. King Charles really detests food waste, despite the fact that packing leftovers into Tupperware doesn't seem very regal. Former royal cook Carolyn Robb told a biographer, "If we had roasted lamb and there were leftovers, we'd definitely go and make shepherd's pie the next night." The king firmly held that nothing should be wasted. If there were leftovers, they'd be used one way or another. If not for him, the leftover food in the palace would go to waste. According to his former private secretary, Clive Alderton, Charles would even save the leftovers from tea time and repurpose them until the food was finished. Number 4. He is hard-working. King Charles III is a hard worker. He used to work 7 days a week as a prince, often starting work after breakfast and finishing after midnight. Prince Harry said of his father in the BBC documentary Prince, Son and Heir, Charles at 70, that he does need to calm down. This is a man who eats supper absurdly late at night. Then later that evening, goes to his work and will doze off while reading his notes, sometimes to the point where he will awaken with a piece of paper attached to his face. According to Queen Consort Camilla Parker Bowles, his intense work ethic is a result of his desire to improve the world. Number 3. He has made efforts to keep his land safe. They are given unique code names when particular dignitaries visit the US. King Charles was known as Unicorn by the Secret Service. This legendary moniker strangely fits the king. Scotland's national anthem, the Unicorn, has been a part of the country's coat of arms for more than 600 years. In the late 1300s, a Scottish monarch used a unicorn as a symbol of strength. On the Isle of Bute in Scotland, Rothesay Castle's arms and entrance included unicorns, maybe used by Robert II or III, which makes the fact that the Duke of Rothesay was one of King Charles III's first titles very interesting. Number 2. He is passionate and plans for the future. King Charles, who had a burning desire to make high-quality food accessible to everyone, founded his own business, Duchy Organics, in 1990. The business donates all its monetary proceeds to good causes. This also adds to its philanthropic nature, which we have mentioned earlier in this video. At the opening of the Social Association event, he said, "The entire survival of mankind may rely to a very considerable part on a mainstream shift to more sustainable agricultural techniques, based of course on organic principles." This shows that he is ever ready to adopt new techniques that benefit not just the royal family, but his people and the rest of the world. Number 1. He is a problem solver. Talk about using traditional techniques with modern innovations. King Charles III had a huge interest in automobiles when he was younger. And to no surprise, since he would often lead a lavish lifestyle. However, when he was gifted the Aston Martin on his 21st birthday, he was quite concerned about the environmental damage and pollution the car would produce. This was where he went to find alternatives to fuel for his car. He found engineers who could create fuel with white wine or whey combination, and although they cautioned him against doing so with his antique vehicle, he went on to do it anyway. Later, he found that the car performed even better and had more power than gasoline. He then added, "The vintage Aston Martin runs on wine, and it smells so good while you're driving." This adds to the evidence that King Charles III would definitely make a good king. He will definitely find solutions to make things better than they are. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Press the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming updates. Thank you for watching.